Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to Confessions of a Domestic Engineer, or as I like to call it, Code. And today we're going to ask the big question: what if? Alright, I decided to wait until Disney Plus finished airing the entire What If series before I decided to talk about it, or do more than just casual mentions of it. Hit and miss, completely honest. I'm going to go through this episode by episode, but it definitely was hit and miss for me. The first episode showed promise. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? The storyline made sense. There's a lot of people that really talked a lot of crap about how they masculinized Peggy Carter. They didn't masculinize Peggy Carter in any way. First off, to give a little background on where I'm going with this, when I was in high school, I dated a girl most of high school. At least half of my high school years, I dated the same chick, and she was, when we first started dating, we were the exact same height. There was a brief time period where she briefly got taller than I did as she got her final growth spurt. She briefly got taller than I did, and then I shot up about 2 inches over top of her by the end. Because I think we were both around 5'9", 5'10" when we first started dating. By the time we broke up, I was 6 foot, and she was like 5'10" and a half, maybe 5'11", give or take. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But she also wasn't like thin and tiny. She was built like a woman. But she also had broad shoulders. Me and her could honestly just interchange clothes. We were very similar in sizes. She had more hips than I did. The reason why I'm saying this is if you look at Steve Rogers and you look at Peggy Carter, okay, if you look at both of them pre-serum, and then you look at how the serum altered Steve Rogers, who was sickly and in bad shape, this, that, and the other thing, and then you take someone like Peggy Carter, who doesn't have any detractors against her, and give it to her, she's going to fully maximize on it. So the fact that people were complaining that Peggy Carter was overpowered, no, I think she was logically powered considering everything I just said. So I personally liked it. I liked the little nods. I liked that they had Howard Stark build the armor early. It was cool. I like how they powered up the armor, stuff like that. It was great. It all made logical sense. It all worked natural within the storyline. It was totally believable to me. I thought it was a great start. Starting with, making Captain America a female may not have been the best approach. Especially considering they couldn't go with Captain Britain, which would have been the more technical one they should have went with, but that wouldn't have worked, so they had to go with Captain Carter, and it gets kind of issues. But those issues, those are squabble, petty internet issues. The true blue core of the story, everything about it, I have no issues with it whatsoever. I have no qualms with it. I think it was a smart telling. I think it was done well. I'm cool with that. That brings us to the second episode. What if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? Now, it does actually say this in the title. It says became a Star-Lord. Now, I'm not sure if they changed that or not. I don't remember hearing the A in there before. I'm not fond of this episode, really. I think it really kind of ignores... A lot of it ignores the T'Challa that we were introduced to in Civil War. It really does. The character quirks and personality that were in there. I think it makes T'Challa look too... I don't think T'Challa would have spread that type of peace. I mean, remember, this is a guy who tried to kill Bucky Barnes because he thought he was misled to believe that, he killed his dad. So I don't know if he's going to be that altruistic, It just seemed a little too altruistic. There's other issues I have with it as well, but it really was just way too much credit to that character. Sorry, it is, you know. And I'm a fan of Black Panther. I like Black Panther. I personally think they dulled down Black Panther in the movies compared to what he was in the comic books, which I kind of have a dislike for, because in the comic books he's Tony Stark, but in a lot of ways, honestly, better. Um, Whereas here he's just another kind of one of the superheroes, you know. Anyways, that was followed up with What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? I dug this one. I really dug the storyline on this one, and I like this one. This one works really well within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's believable. It completely is on target. The idea of Hank Pym going completely batshit crazy, getting the Yellow Jacket costume, and starting to take out heroes. That's almost right out of the comic book. So that I was cool with. I really, and the way that he does it, stuff that he does, I think it was great. The way they tie it in to the first three movies, and they set a definitive timeline, how the first three movies being Iron Man, Hulk, and Thor, so all three of their movies that are part of the accepted MCU, they all take place in the same week. You know, it's really cool to see that 100% canon officially set up in sort of, at least in this way. Wonderful, beautiful. I absolutely loved what they did with the idea behind the storyline. It was a real thought-provoking piece. It was really cool that way. Now, to me, the pinnacle episode, the true pinnacle episode of the What If series, the one that was the most amazing out of everything, the whole entire way through, to me was the fourth episode. And I think it is going to be the one that is going to stand up the best in the What If series. And that is What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? And what I love about it is it shows the depths of hell a man will go to for the woman he loves. Yeah, it's cliche. It is. It is cliche. But the fact, you know, I'm trying not to give a whole lot of spoilers away when I'm doing these reviews either, for people that haven't seen it. But I love the fact that it right away introduces the concept of a fixed point in history. And it really jumps on that fixed point in history. Because it establishes it so well that my girlfriend Tracy, who, she's not a Marvel buff like I am, you know, she enjoys it. She's enjoyed watching the shows, and she's enjoyed watching the movies since we got together. You know, she watched the Loki series and that. But right away, she picked up on when they go to establish fixed point in time. She says it before the show even says it, kind of thing. And it's great because it operates so well just purely on its own, and you don't even really need to have seen the Doctor Strange movie to understand it. Some of these other ones having a little bit of background you need to have, like, you know, What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Heroes? That one you have to have a legitimate background on. The Captain Marvel one, it really helps that if you've seen the movie on that one as well to understand how the beginning starts off, really. What If T'Challa Became Star-Lord? No, but really you don't need to watch that episode either, I don't think. Other than, I'll come back around to it afterwards. But the Doctor Strange lost his hands. That was just a beautiful episode, and the outcome on it is fantastic as well. It really is. That's followed by What If Zombies? Okay. So, What If Zombies? Whew. I'm a Marvel Zombies fan. I've been a Marvel Zombies fan for a while. I don't have Marvel Zombies 1 in my hand because my Marvel Zombies 1 is autographed and sealed up in a bag. But I also like alternate dimension stuff outside of the Marvel Zombies because it's obviously alternate stuff. But, you know, like this one's alternate. Oh, I forgot this one's autographed as well there too. Right there, you can see that. I should get that one put in the bag. but this is so alternate that it even brings in Ash Williams from the Army of Darkness universe, which is just so great, so awesome. But I love Marvel Zombies, and this episode with the Marvel Zombies, they do it really well within the universe. I like a lot of what they do with it. I like how they introduce the zombies into it. I think it's a fun episode. It really is. And that's why I enjoyed that one so much. It really is just a fun episode, especially if you're a Marvel Zombies fan. After that, we go into what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark. I don't like that episode. I don't like it on a multitude of levels. There's a multitude of levels where it's just it doesn't work well for me, and watching it through as its own individual episode, I don't like it. And it's only because of something I'm going to get to shortly that I later will change my perspective on it. Then we get to what if Thor were an only child. Okay. What if Thor were an only child? This is not anything other than a fun episode. That's all it is. It is a fun cheeseball episode. It's not meant as anything cool or spectacular or great or anything like that. I am not going to praise it as some type of you need to watch this episode. It is a fantastic, fun episode. It's a party boy episode. That's what it is. If you want to see them do, like a giant kegger, 80s Rodney Dangerfield Thor. That's what we're gonna say. 80s style Rodney Dangerfield Thor. That's what you're gonna get in here. All of a sudden drinks just magically appear out of everywhere and everybody's having a good time. Okay, that is, yeah, man. It's a fun episode. It really is. Then we get to the next best episode, I think, after the Doctor Strange episode. And that is What If Ultron Won? You have to have seen Age of Ultron to get most of what's going on. You also have to have seen enough of the Infinity storyline to get part of what's going on. The episode as its own single episode, brilliant. Very well done. And it's great to see the bad guy win, and the bad guy's going to win right from the beginning. It's What If Ultron won. I like what they do with it, and I like how much they get into the complexity of the multiverse. The part I don't like about it is there's the next episode to that. And the next episode sums up the whole entire first season. Because 90% of what you see, except for Marvel Zombies, basically, through the first season, and I think there might be a little Marvel Zombie reference, I don't remember, shows back up in What If the Watcher Broke His Oath. Okay, so this is fun on a multitude of levels for me, and I'm also disappointed at the same time on a multitude of levels. Okay. If you're one of my regular viewers, you may have watched my HeroClix unboxing episode. If you watch the HeroClix unboxing episode, at least you might be watching this. In that, I've mentioned Exiles. I love Exiles. Exiles deals extensively with the multiverse. I don't have any What If comics in front of me because whatever What If comics I have are really old and they're either tattered or whatnot. They're in a box somewhere so they don't get beat up more over the years. My trades are the only thing I keep out loose on the shelf these days. And whatever What If comics I got left, they're rather beat. I loved the What If series. What If was actually the comic books I bought regularly. I didn't buy a lot of comic books as a kid. I bought some. But when I first started buying comic books, What If were the ones I started buying right off the bat. And I was buying them monthly. Every month a new one would come out. And that's what my go-to was What If. For at least 2-3 years straight. And then I really branched out in other ones, and I didn't pick up as much What If, but anyways, I love alternate universe. I love when they get into it. I really love how they get in the alternate universes and stuff like that. The problem I have with the last episode, What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, is the Watcher really has broken his oath on a few occasions, but there's a much better story in the actual What If comics that deals with the Watcher breaking his oath versus this, and it's part of the regular storyline. And in the major comic book storyline, if you're not aware of this or not, the Watcher is the one that warns the Fantastic Four about Galactus and tells them how to stop Galactus so they could spare Earth, because the Watcher loved Earth and didn't want the Earth destroyed. In that universe, yeah, there was repercussions for it, stuff like that, blah, 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 but not horrible. Then, back to what I was talking about with the original What Ifs, there is a What If story of what if the Avengers had fought Galactus, and it was a carryover of what if the Fantastic Four had died in their original space fight that gave them their powers. What if they had died instead? In that storyline, the Avengers fight Galactus, and ultimately, because the Watcher breaks his oath to tell the Avengers, because he can't tell the Fantastic Four, so he has to tell the Avengers, and the way things play out that way, the Watcher truly has to break his oath, and the Watcher has to fight Galactus to stop Galactus from eating the Earth. Quite the battle as well, quite the storyline that goes with it. But basically, it results in the Watcher's death. So when I get to this episode, and this episode is What If the Watcher Broke His Oath, I've seen the true dire consequences of what happens when the Watcher breaks his oath. And this episode, he had to break his oath, there wasn't the dire consequences would have been if he hadn't broken his oath, we're talking cataclysmic nastiness. But there was other factors that they screwed up at the same time. They mention, but they don't mention. Like they've got the Infinity Stone Crusher in there, and the Infinity Stone Crusher, sorry, spoiler, is supposed to crush the Infinity Stones, and they crush the Infinity Stones, or they think they have crushed the Infinity Stones. But the problem is the Stone Crusher is meant to crush the Infinity Stones from a particular universe, not the universe that Ultron got his Infinity Stones from. So, therefore, it's a loophole that Ultron can reproduce those Infinity Stones because they technically couldn't have been crushed. The problem with this is that means his Infinity Stones should not function properly unless they are in his universe. And they're functioning properly everywhere. They've given him access to, spoilers, the multiverse. Now, this is something that is actually out of the comics. This is something that is played up when they did the big Secret Wars reboot. The fact that in order to defeat Doctor Doom, they had to find the specific Infinity Stones that belonged to a very specific piece of the battle world, because any other Infinity Stones would not function there. Only those specific ones would not function properly, would not be at full strength. And they show it in multiple places, and even in the regular universe outside of all that stuff, when the universe is starting to collapse, they show that using the Infinity Gauntlet in a different universe can actually cause massive repercussions just for the Infinity Gauntlet itself. As the one that Steve Rogers used kind of blew up. Anyways. So there's some things they play really loose and fast with. Now, the other thing that goes with this that I want to mention, bring it all together, is all the characters that are assembled together. The episode plays out more like a contest of champions versus Ultron with an Infinity Gauntlet. And if you understand what contest of champions means, that's multiversal right there in its own. It's a great way for in the comic books to put different characters from different things. It's basically, for me, it's like playing HeroClix. You know, you can say, hey, well, I'm going to use this, Miles Morales and Peter Parker and this and that, and they don't do that here. And I got to say, I was a little bummed out. They go to the effort to bring in Tom Holland to do the Zombies episode, and then they leave that particular Spider-Man out of this particular episode. Now, to put him back in there with that whole thing, blah, 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 I understand. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm happy with all the happy endings at the end. You know what I mean? Like, if you really watch the whole series as a whole, the old white man is the guy that ultimately makes the biggest sacrifice and gets screwed the hardest. That's gonna be me nitpicking. I'm seeing a lot of that lately, where if you're a white dude over 40, you're now the dead guy automatically. It seems like you're the big sacrifice guy. Thor is basically the big dumb muscle. And then it's kind of like, I don't know. And then, you got T'Challa and Killmonger. And I don't want to spoil anything related to actual endings and stuff like that. I'm looking at IMDb as I'm reading all this off, okay? And IMDb shows that it's got like an 8.6 rating. For the last episode. What if Ultron 1's got 9.2 and the What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands has a 9. I'm okay with Ultron and the Doctor Strange episode being interchangeable with each other. They're both fantastic episodes. Top-notch fantastic episodes. Really totally enjoy them. They're the two best episodes in the entire series, hands down. The rest of them, the Captain Carter one and the Zombies one, I personally think are really enjoyable as well. After that, I really kind of go downhill. The What If the Watcher Broke His Oath has an 8.6. I wouldn't rate it that high myself. Definitely a strong 7, maybe a 7.6, a 7.7, 7.8, because it's got some great action, stuff like that. But I really have certain issues with certain things they do with it, and I don't like the way how they finish it out entirely. I look forward to a second season. I hope it's better. I don't want to see another season like this where it all kind of comes out to one giant story and introduce all these alternates bringing this one story. I don't want to see that. I don't want anything to do with that. If you're going to do that, you have the rights back to the X-Men universe. Do the Exiles. That's how you do that properly. If you're going to do that, do an Exiles. Seriously. Exiles. You could introduce everybody to this giant Marvel universe that hasn't been explored yet. If you really want to get this multiverse stuff, bring in the Exiles. You can introduce everybody to the mutants on so many different levels. And you can really make it a lot more enjoyable than it is. See, there's a season 2 button here. That means it is getting to season 2. But no details about it. Says it's also 9 episodes again, but who knows? That's IMDb, right? So the whole way around, there are a couple cool moments in here. I also forgot what if the world lost its mightiest heroes. That was a great episode. It really was. That was a really good episode too, because it was a great who did it story kind of thing. It was a great murder mystery kind of episode, and I really, really, really dig it. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you think. If you like me talking about comic books or doing comic related episodes, leave me a comment. I could do more of them if people actually want them. I've kind of avoided them because I kind of felt like, comics were kind of going the way of the dodo right now. People are kind of backing away from them, and I'm not a huge manga fan. It's okay. I'm just not a fan of the drawing style. That's all it is. And that drawing style with me in comics makes a difference. Actually, I'll do an episode about that. Anyways, yeah, let me know in the comments if you want me to talk about stuff, more comic stuff. Sorry, it'll be really Marvel heavy and some alternative stuff as well. I lost most of the DC in the divorce. Anyways, until next time, everybody, like button, subscribe button, share button, peace, love, take care.